During this tutorial I'm going to be covering the countif, the sumif and the lookup function on Microsoft Excel. I'm going to be covering the Excel question of the May-June 2010 paper 3 for Cambridge International Examinations. So I'm just going to go straight to page 5 and I'm going to cover the first few questions. Question 44 using a lookup function, question 45 using a countif function, and question 46 using a sumif function. So before I start the questions, to make my life easy, the first question says you're going to use two documents, so I'm going to put both of them documents into the same workbook. To do that, I'm going to right click where it says JX sheet here. I'm going to click move or copy and then click copy to book JX desk and then click OK. Now both of the sheets I'm working on are in the same location and it's easy to toggle between the two. So the first question is asking me to use a lookup function to find the meaning of this code which is in cell B2. The meaning of it is listed in the JX desk sheet and here it means Bahamas. So to do that I'm going to click in A2 and then going to click on the little FX. I'm going to use the function library for all of these just to make it clear what I'm doing. So FX, and then just going to type in lookup to find the lookup function. I don't need to use the VLOOKUP here, the straightforward lookup will do the trick. And I'm going to use lookup value and array. If you look at the question doesn't say anything about a vector or a result vector, but it does say about a lookup value and array, so I'm going to use this option and click OK. Now one thing to remember with Microsoft Excel is you can only look at one value at a time, and an array is always a group of information. So the value I'm looking for is BAH, and then on the array I'm going to click on the JX desk. I'm then going to highlight a group of information which is all of the codes. Nearly always on the array you need to make that group of information, or the array, an absolute reference. So every time it looks for your lookup value it looks within the same area. And then click OK. That's done the Bahamas, so now when my mouse becomes a small cross at the bottom right hand side of the cell, I can double click and that will copy down. So that is the first question, question 44 done. Question 45 is asking us to do a function in cell C2 to count the number of trips to the destination where the value in the decode column matches the contents of B2. So the decode column is here, so I now need to count the number of trips where this value equals this value. So again, click on FX, I'm going to use a countif, so just search for a countif. Countif, then the range again is a group of information, so I'm going to highlight the group of information, so that is D25 to D98, and again the range I need to make an absolute reference by putting a $ in front of the D, in front of the 25, in front of the D, in front of the 98. Criteria can only be one piece of information. Excel can only look up one thing at a time, so I'm going to click on BH and I can see my answer here now is 7. So there's 7 BHs in this BAHs in this list, and then OK. Again, double click to copy that down, and for example there are 12 Thailands within the decode list. The next question, question 46, asks me to use a function to add the total of number of days for holidays starting in the month of January. The month of January is a code of 1, which we can see in the data here. So I need to calculate the number of days. This is going to be a sumif. So again, click on the FX, sumif, and then sumif. Now the range again is a group of information. So that's going to be the month, which is B25 to B98. Again, I need to make that an absolute reference. $sign, 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 and $sign. The criteria, I can only look up one criteria at a time. So this time I'm going to look for number 1 in B11. And the sum range are the numbers which you want to add up. And in this case, I want to add up the number of days. So I'm going to highlight the days. And then again, that range needs to be an absolute reference. $sign, 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 and $sign. So I can see for the first one, B11, there are 35 days worth of holidays during the month of January. This concludes this tutorial. If you want to know more on the lookup function, I have another video on the lookup function. And for the rest of the Excel paper, it's predominantly about searching and interrogating the information. I also have another video on searching and interrogating data within Excel.